Good day to all of you. On behalf of cashewinformation.com, I welcome you all to the Trade Talk Series 3. Today, we are very fortunate to have 4 experts among us to share their views on what's going on, first in Nigeria and then in Bissau. We have 2 speakers for each country. The first speaker would speak on the raw cashew situation, both the trade as well as the export. And the second speaker would talk about the local cashew processing in that country. We will take up Nigeria first to give a presentation on what has happened to 2021 Nigeria raw cashew trade. I invite Mr. Adanji MA, Managing Director, CEO of Starling Global and Ideal Limited, a company that was formed in 1999 and incorporated in 2002. Mr. Adanji is also the Director of Operations of Starling. He is a biochemistry graduate from Obafemi Awolowo University, Nigeria. In September 2019, he was inducted as the only African in the prestigious Council of Federation of Cocoa Commerce, FCC. In my interactions with him, I see him as a visionary and a thought leader, and he is keenly bent on transforming Nigeria cashew industry, be it raw cashew trade or processing of raw nuts to kernels. He is a man of action and leads from the front and inspires his entire team through his leadership. With this introduction, I request Mr. Adanji MB, Managing Director, Starling, to deliver his speech. Over to you, sir.
Good evening in India. Good afternoon in some other part of the world, and good morning to people in some part of Africa. My name is Adeyemi Mofolashole Adeniji. We are very happy and pleased to be here, and I need to also thank the Cashew Info for creating these type of opportunities for so many people to understand what actually is happening in different origins. Nigeria, I'm very pleased and very happy to inform the whole world that the narration about Nigeria has really changed. 5-6 years ago, every time we go for international conferences, we always come back with covering our faces, because it is always that Nigerian cashew was not good, the moisture was a trouble, the quality has always been a big problem. Nobody wants to buy Nigerian cashew. We collaborated with Nigeria Export Promotion Council, the federal government, and today it is a different story. I think some buyers in Vietnam, in India can testify to that today Nigerian cashew is better than most of the ones of our other countries that are very close to us. For 2021 especially, we have had very wonderful season. Unfortunately, the crop was short by up to about 20 to 25%. Before the beginning of the cashew season, we had this type of meeting, and I presented that we are going to have a shortfall of about 15%. But in the actual sense, it was about between 20 and 25% loss compared with what we produced in 2020. But as that may be, it was compensated for by the very wonderful quality. The quality in Nigeria this year was very good from the beginning to the end of the crop. And now is the tail end of it. where you have uh, some quality not as good as the beginning, but we still have people delivering now. When we say the worst of the quality at 46 and 45 KOR. From Nigeria, the effort of the government and we as Starlink has really paid off. This year, I accept people that want to be very mischievous. There were no wet cashews loaded in containers this year. Everybody that traded cashew from Nigeria delivered wet dry cashew into the containers, which are on their way to Vietnam. We also have the same problem with what is can be seen everywhere in the world. The problem of port congestion. It was very noteworthy to say it here without any apology to anybody that with the major problem we have had in Nigeria until recently when it was then decided and when Nigerian Port Authority, the federal government waded into it, it had been the shipping lines. All the shipping lines, I don't know whether it was deliberate or by accident, they were loading only empty containers out of Nigeria, abandoning all the exports. And the reason was simple. Containers are very scarce in Asia, bringing imports into Africa. So all these shipping lines, none can be exonerated from this. At the beginning of the season, when all of us have loaded the containers and were put at the port, considering the congestion at the port, they abandoned these containers and loaded only empty containers to Asia so that they can quickly turn around these containers and bringing them back to Africa as imports. So that really caused a lot of wahala for everybody. And I stood up as the leader in the industry, wrote petition against all of them, went to MP, went to the presidential, the filler, and cried out loud to everybody that these shipping lines are going to crash the business. Because we also understand that we are supplier of raw materials and there's production plan in Vietnam and everywhere. And we don't want a situation whereby we'll not be able to deliver because the business is not interesting if it is one-sided. We want to deliver these things to the owner so that they can also process and also ship these things to where it is and this chain. And they have given us problems. Luckily enough, in the last 3.5 weeks, the federal government took this very seriously. And the situation is relatively better now, at least from what I have witnessed from Starlink. Almost 70–60% of our containers have been loaded and they are on their way to Vietnam. The other general issue is that even at transshipment port, it has not been very easy. Some of our containers that are supposed to get to Vietnam on the 29th of March, I mean of May, we saw it on their website now has been taken, postponed to 15th of June. But from the filials from everywhere in the world, in Ivory Coast, and from Ghana, from Benin, we find this the same thing. Even from Asia, we found out it's just the same thing everywhere. I think it was just the shipping lines doing very quick businesses that really affected it. The solution we are looking at for now is to see if our partners in Vietnam, in India, will allow us to start to use chartered vessel. I have done it in cocoa, it worked. I shipped 7,000 tons of cocoa from Calabar to America, and it got there within 18 days. So those are options where everybody should be looking at now. If these shipping lines are going to be frustrating the business of these perishable items from Africa to different destinations. It's also very important that if collectively we can come together and see how we can pressurize these shipping lines to see these agricultural commodities are very important. From my discussion with some of them, I find out that they are getting about $15,000 if they bring in imports from China to Africa. And whereas when we load the containers from Nigeria, from Togo, from Benin, from Ivory Coast, it's about $500 to $700 they collect. And the law, the shipping law, allows them, if they cannot load your container and you have problems at destination, they can only pay the exact amount of the freight. So which may give them a lot of comfort to abandon your containers that is export laden and load empties. I think it is a very serious disruption that I think this Cashew Info and everybody on this platform should look at. They cannot be doing this one to these perishable items, especially when it is a chain. Partnership is not about Nigeria, it's not about Africa. It is supposed to be all encompassing. When one part of it is broken, it affects the entire thing. It was not very easy, but the good thing is it was not only limited to Nigeria, it is world over that we had it. We don't know whether it was more difficult, whether it's worse in Nigeria than others. I don't know, but I think from the information I gathered, it was the same thing. So we need help in this particular side of it. And I think aside this one, Nigeria is on the path of progress, better production, and very wonderful quality. At least that one I can assure everybody that is buying from Nigeria this year. Prices have been very difficult. At the time, it was very good. Then I think there was information, I don't know whether it was correct or not, that the volume was reduced in Vietnam and Cambodia, and so many Vietnamese rushed into Nigeria to start to buy directly. And that pushed the market up very quickly until recently when the coronavirus in India has slowed it down. And that one also affected the pricing. So it was initially a very good business, but towards the end, when that thing happened, it was not a very good one. I think congestion at the port and the price fluctuation are the only major two problems that we have had. On the quality, I think I can beat my chest that we can compete with any part of the world today. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, as always, sir. You have highlighted a very important challenge. In fact, in our last trade talk as well, people did mention about empty containers going out of Africa, basically because currently there is an arbitrage. The shippers get higher revenue realization in some other routes. We did notice that one. We will take cognizance of that and we will highlight it in our report, and we will try to push from our side. That's a very, very valid point. I have one or two questions, if we can probably address them quickly. Uh, uh, how much of material has moved out of Nigeria as on today, as in
Well,
exported out?
yeah, if I have to look from using my Starlink as a yardstick, because I've bought about 47,000 tons of cashew this year, and what have moved out as at this morning is about 24,000 tons has moved. Before the last 3 weeks, when I started to fight and writing petitions, it was only 17 containers that got to Vietnam. Those are cashew I loaded in February and March 10. Some of them were even abandoned in Nume, and nobody cared. So many of them have been moved, and I think as at this morning, about 23 to 24,000 tons have moved. So, and if you look at that one, compare with the volume I bought, that's about 50%.
Right. So one can take that as a general yardstick for the industry as well. Am I right in my understanding?
I think so.
Okay. And very, very nice that you pointed out at the very excellent quality. We would have the advantage of Mr. Arvind talking more on that, being a processor in thing you said the last crop currently which is there is about 46, 47. What's the kind of average quality throughout the year, what you're seeing in terms of nut count, in terms of KOR? Can you just give some?
Well, in Nigeria, we have two crops: the Obomoso quality, which is the premium quality, and the other one, which is other parts of Nigeria, which is towards the north, from Kogi to Nasarawa to other places. And the quality was very good this year because the farmers, the sensitization really made everybody to dry their cashew. The quality was good throughout till end of April. And I think there's nowhere anybody can get anything lesser than 48 as at the first and the second crop. But these last ones are the ones you can see 46 and 45. I think that's the worst quality we have got in Nigeria this year. The average cannot be lesser than 48. And the worst case, very worst case is 47.5 average quality. But they were at the beginning, they were 50, 51 kWh. As I have some of the qualities I'm loading for somebody now, and when they tested yesterday, it was 51 kWh. Those are the ones who first the crop. Yes, Nigerian quality was very good this year, and everybody sun-dried very well. Maximum quality. We are even getting some at 8% and 9% moisture. So it was very good this year. I think we'll continue to push until we get to the destination. It has been very wonderful this year, ensure quality.
That's remarkable. Thanks to the efforts of the government, as you have said, and also people like you for putting this efforts in this particular direction, which has been a long pending demand of all the processes. Coming to last question for you, like, sir, a price range, like, what has been the price range you have seen so far and what's the price currently? Export price, FOB price, if you have to give some numbers.
For FOB price, it started at $1,100, $1,200. Then it rose to 1,320, 1,350. Then when the coronavirus started in Vietnam, India, that so many people are afraid, the price crashed a bit to around 1,180 and 1,200. So generally throughout the year, the average price from Nigeria has been between 1,200 and 1,250, and premium price at 1320 and 1340, depending on the crop, whether it is Ogbomoso or the other ones.
Thank you so much, sir. Please stay on. We will come back to you once all the speakers are finished with the presentation. Thank you so much. We will take up some questions from the audience. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was an excellent presentation by the Managing Director and CEO of Starlink Global, Mr. Adanji. We will go to the next presenter, Mr. Arvind Tiwari. He's from Valency. He's Group Cashew Processing Head of Valency International. He's got 12 years experience in a variety of multinationals, starting with Cadbury, then Haynes India, and then in Olam from 2013, and the last 2.5 years he's been with Valency International. He has done BTech from HBTI Kanpur, one of the prestigious institutions in India, which is celebrating 100 years of its existence. With this introduction, I welcome Mr. Arvind Kumar Tiwari. Over to you, sir.
Hi, thanks to give this opportunity to present cashew processing of Nigeria. First, I will say bonjour, good morning, and good evening, because one part of Guinea-Bissau speaks French also. So that's why I use this French bonjour, good afternoon, and good evening. As per India, it is good evening. So today I will cover a few points, like 8-9 points I have covered in the cashew processing of Nigeria. For that, I will go one by one. If I start from first point, what is our cashew processing in Nigeria? And second point, if I take what are the factors that is inhibiting to export in Nigeria? And third point, I will take that what is the 2021 processing and outlook. And because we all know the entire world is suffering from COVID, so what was the impact of COVID, second wave especially, on this cashew processing? And my sir already explained about the logistic problems. So definitely I will also like to cover what are the logistic challenges are there in Nigeria. And as per current RCN price, are we matching with the CKN parity or not? And during this second COVID wave, during the entire COVID era, what kind of support Nigerian processor got from the buyers, and what is the current market pattern as of now. So I will like to cover all these points in my presentation. So if I start from the cashew processing in Nigeria, so if you see the world crop, so world crop is almost 3.5 million metric ton. Out of that, 7% is the share of Nigeria. Out of that, only 15 to 20% is being processed in the Nigeria. So if you consider the total percentage, so it comes to 1 to 1.5%, where a wide gap is there, which can be filled by inviting many more processor in the Nigeria. And 80 to 85% still we are exporting from the Nigeria. Like as Mr. Redini already explained that there are two kind of crop in the Nigeria. One is the Ogomoso and second one is the normal Kogi and other part of the Nigeria. So definitely this Ogomoso is premium crop and other one is the normal crop. So processing of Ogomoso crop is easier, its peelability, its processing efficiency is far better than normal Nigerian nuts. So there are plenty chances in Nigeria to come investors and invest in the processing business. So this is a place which is welcoming to world to come and do the processing in the Nigeria. As nuts quality has also improving there. If you compare from the past 2 3 years, so consistently nuts quality of Nigeria is at the higher side. Like this year, as already you know, he has explained in the just few minutes back, average crop quality is somewhere close to 47 to 47.5, and its highest range was 51 to 52. So there are good chances to do the processing in the Nigeria. If I go for the next part after the processing, then I will like to explain what are the other challenges in the Nigeria apart from this cashew processing. So there are logistic challenges also. Like first thing, if I involve your these factors, so in factors, why it is what are the good and bad things in the Nigeria. So first thing, low level of investment is there in the Nigeria. And what are the other factors? Other factors are there. If you see the cost of infrastructure, electricity, transportation, and other things are higher in the Nigeria. And other parts like how to encourage the farmers. So to encourage the farmers, still there are low incentive plans, which has to strengthen further. And apart from that, like for the processors perspective, if you see, still in Nigeria, if we compare from the Ivory Coast, this export incentive policy is still where some more working is required from the government side. It is already declared there, but still some challenges are there, which is not being benefited to the processors exactly. So this was the one point which I wanted to cover in my this presentation. That what were the factors. Then I will like to go on the next slide. What are the processing outlook of the 2021? So like this year also the total crop size of Nigeria was 200 to 210,000. Out of that, this year definitely some more processor has involved. So we are expecting some 50 to 55,000 metric ton processing will happen there in Nigeria. And out of 50 to 55, some one part like 140 will go to the export. But 10 to 15,000, I think some goes to the mix with the and all. This is what is the 2021 processing and outlook of the Nigeria. Then we like to explain on the next part. So in the next part, if we see what was the impact of COVID second wave. So if we compare Nigeria from the other countries, so impact of second wave was lesser in Nigeria in compared to other countries like what is happening in India. So, so sorry, there was some interruption. So if sorry, I got interrupted because of a call. So in uh, in Nigeria, so compared to other like what happens in India, you can see we have impacted badly in the India. But if you see in the second wave, which was in the period of from December to February, it did not impact much. So there was problem, some partial lockdown, some like you can say some early hours closure, all those things was there. And apart from that, it was like a survival happened there in the Nigeria in the second wave also. Apart from that, if we go for the logistic challenges, so logistic challenges are there. What are the logistic challenges? First challenge, if you see, port congestion is there. What is happening because of port congestion? So we as a processor are struggling. Our cycle time is going higher. Our cycle time is going higher, so we are forced to, sometimes we are getting complaint, we have to go for the compensation. So these are challenges where Nigeria is facing there. So there is no alternative way to counter this, but what we are looking like some new ports are going on there. So we are expecting in coming days, so some improvement will happen there. So apart from that, like already from in the RCN presentation, Mr. Ademi has covered the RCN prices. So I have also covered one part that like RCN prices started from like 350 naira, and at a certain moment of time, though 350 was not stable, it was just started. After 350, it jumped to 400 to 450, and finally its closing happened somewhere at the level of 500 naira per kg. So if you consider on an average, the brine price in Nigeria was at the level of $1,000. So because Europe market also opened, so kernel prices has also improved as of now. So if we calculate for this 2021, so in 2021, for the processing perspective, it is going to be a good year. So we can say ki because of some correction is there in the kernel market, and the crop of Nigeria was better than previous years. So this will be the money year for the Nigeria processors. And I have considered one part ki during this pandemic, what kind of support we got from our buyers. So definitely many buyers supported Nigerian processors. Few have given extension, and China was not open for Nigeria, but now China, Nepal, and Middle East has also opened for the Nigerian process. This is the good thing for Nigerian processors. And apart from this, local processing and local consumption has also increased in the Nigeria. That is also a good thing for the cashew processors in the Nigeria. If we go for the current market pattern, so in current market pattern, if you see, so RCN prices are more or less like we saw in the previous presentation also, it is stable. So it is stable because, why it is stable? Because RCN arrivals in Vietnam have picked up significant. So, and prices are stable. COVID second wave in India forced most of the cargoes have been diverted to the Vietnam. And second part, if we go for the CKN price, so definitely in 2020, CKN prices were the weaker from weaker range, now it is coming to the stable market. And because it is stable because like you see, Europe market is open. So Europe and US market is open. So we are getting a good deal from there. So since last April, May, it is bit stable. Uh, Even I raised one question in last WCC also, where we need some support from cashew buyers. Like from Nigeria perspective, uh, our lower grades, like our smaller grades, like you can say WSP, baby, some powder, so where they have to put some attention. So what is happening, it can give good realization to us in the Nigeria. Even if you compare in India and Vietnam, so we are getting good realization there from these grades. So where they have to support Nigerian processors, so definitely it is going to add some $30-40 more per metric ton basis. So that's what I wanted to share with you all. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Arvind, for a very detailed presentation. A couple of questions based on your presentation. You said this year's local processing you estimate to be around 55,000.
Right.
What was it last year? Just to like.
Last year it was close to 40,000.
So this increase of 10,000 or 15,000, is it because of new factories coming or the existing factories?
One or two new has also come there, but existing, there are three major players are there in Nigeria. So all these three factories have also increased their volume. So one or two has come, small processors, but out of that, more or less, the existing processor has increased their volume.
Okay. And how much of this 55,000 gets converted to, like, let's say 1:4 also, if you take, it's about 12,000 to 15,000 tons of kernels.
Right.
Uh, uh, how much of it is Burma or how much of it is fully finished?
See,
just
because,
some guess, rough estimates
yeah,
also.
I have some rough guess. So because in 2020, because of this pandemic, so there was a lot of times closure of plants and all those things are there. So if I say out of 40,000, so if you take 25%, so 10,000 metric ton kernels, out of 10,000, some 10 to 12% Burma kernel got exported from Vietnam to from Nigeria to Vietnam.
Okay, so 10 to 15% was last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
But in this year, you see in 2021, so because the crop is better, so its peelability has also improved and situations are better there in Nigeria. So you can expect this 10% will go further down. So most of the factories are trying to do end to end there. So very small part will get exported to Vietnam from Nigeria.
On the Burma, you are saying?
Yeah, Arboro.
Okay, this peelability question, is a very important question which processors always have a doubt or very especially in India. And your comments on that one is very, very encouraging. Is it a qualified comment only for Obomosho or generally across Nigeria, the quality of kernels, because of what Mr. Adanji has said, the process of drying has improved and then well dried cargo, is it because of that the peelability? You want to qualify these remarks on the peelability?
Yeah, definitely. Because if I say, if I take it from my perspective, because I am processing Nigeria in three countries, at least in Nigeria, India, and Vietnam. So what we have seen and what we have listened from our competitors also, Ogomoso definitely is better peelability, but from the normal Nigerian peelability has also improved because of the better crop. So you can say 4 to 5% peelability are also gone up.
Is this better crop attributable also to new crops coming in, new varieties? Is it also due to that, or what has happened when you say better crop? What is that? Is it only the weather factor?
what Mr. Ademi has told, because of the good training of the farmers, it also happens. When they pick nut from the tree and they do proper drying and they keep it in the right environment, then what happens? Definitely the quality of dry cashew nut get improved, and it has also strengthened. And second part, definitely weather, and that has impacted. So both factors are there, 50-50%, you can say. 50% because of the good training and consistent effort of the farmers, and second part because of this weather also.
Sure, sir. I'll leave it you there. Like, no, I'll request you to hold on. We will see the other two presentations and then get back to you. Indeed, a very, very good presentation. Please be with us. Then we come back to the Q&A. Thank you so much. That was Mr. Arvind Tiwari on cashew processing environment in Nigeria. A lot of very positive developments and a lot of interesting observations as well. We will take more questions as we go to the question answer session. I now invite Mr. John Rao, who is our third speaker, and he's going to talk about what is the crop scenario in Bissau. Mind you, Bissau is a late season crop and the crop has just begun. So therefore, there's a lot of interest. Before I request Mr. John Rao, a brief introduction. Mr. John Rao is the administrator, Bijagos Commercial SARL. He's a BE MBA, and he has been trading commodities and packaged foods in West Africa for over 25 years. Mainly he has exported cocoa, coffee, beeswax, and so on from West Africa. And he has been exporting raw cashew from Bissau for over 10 years. With this introduction, over to you, Mr. John Rao. Are you there, sir?
Okay, can you hear me? What's up?
Yes, yes, loud and clear. Please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Bon dia, bonjour, good morning to all of you in West Africa and Europe, and good afternoon, good evening to those of you in Asia. Yeah, as Mr. Vatsa said, we are the last crop in the northern cycle. Most of West Africa is closing up and winding up their seasons, but we have just about started. Can we go to the next slide, please? Mohan, can we go to the next slide?
Just bear with us, sir. He's starting again.
Yeah. Okay. So basically, there has been a delay of 2 to 3 weeks in the opening of the season in Guinea-Bissau because of a standoff between the government and the various associations. You see, we have different associations here for the different stakeholders, the intermediaries, the farmers, the cooperatives, the exporters, the importers. And the government had proposed to add a lot of new taxes this year and also increase a lot of the existing taxes. Obviously, a lot of the associations didn't take too kindly to this. And so they were in hectic discussions and lobbying with the government. I'm happy to say this has been resolved as of last week. Work has started, cashew has started flowing down to Guinea-Bissau, to the city of Bissau. And if we can go to the next slide, we can see the final changes in the tax structure. Okay, this year, for the first time ever, the government proposed to impose a tax on the farmers. As you know, worldwide, this is not very warmly welcomed by farmers in any country. And they had proposed to increase, to add a tax of 15 CFR to the farmers, which was strongly resisted. And finally, they've agreed not to, they dropped this idea and they decided not to put a tax on the farmers. Intermediaries, they were paying a tax of 7.5 CFR last year. That was proposed to be increased to 8 CFR this year. That stays. That's not a big deal. However, the posts that are run by the intermediaries, the government proposed to impose a tax of 5 CFR on the post, which again was protested against. And finally, the government has decided to drop that idea too. Coming down to the exporters, the biggest change for the exporters is the change in the taxable base. In Guinea-Bissau, we are given a, what in the French countries is called a prix mercurial, and in the Lusophone countries is called a base tributaria, which is the basis on which duties and taxes are calculated. Last year, this base was $700. That has been increased to $850 this year. That's an increase of $150 in the taxable base. The CPR tax that's payable by the exporters, the government wanted to increase that to 50 CFR from last year's 28 CFR. That also has finally been decided to be kept at 35 CFR. So that's a 7 CFR increased tax there. The ACI, that is the industrial contribution tax paid by exporters, which was 3%, was proposed to be increased to 5%, but that has also been left at 3% by the government. So this in brief are the changes in taxes, and other taxes remain the same as of last year. That would be the taxes for ANCA, the CPC, and all the other taxes. Those remain the same as of last year. Can we move to the next slide, Mon? Now, coming down to the crop size, in most years, the crop is estimated to be around 220,000 tons per annum, which is quite big for our population, which is about 1.7 million. And last year, the crop size was, I think, down, or maybe there was a lot more exfiltration, because via the port, which normally exports around 190 to 200,000 tons, we exported only about 155, 160,000 tons. This year, a trip through the main cashew producing areas in the regions of Tambali, Kinara, Bafata, Gabu, and even Farin showed that there are practically no fruit and no buds also left on the trees. No flowers, no buds, no fruit on the trees. So the first and second crop is already in farmers' warehouses or intermediaries' warehouses and moving towards exporter warehouses. Discussion with the authorities out here indicates a 15 to 20% short crop this year. In terms of quantities that have already reached Bissau city, I would estimate about maybe 20 to 30,000 tons has already reached Bissau city. The short crop is worrisome, and but that's the way it is, I think, mainly due to the climate issues. Can we move to the next slide? In terms of quality, the quality is within the norms for Guinea-Bissau. Our cut tests in our latest warehouses here indicate 53 to 54 pounds. And nut count also is 220 to 225. Last year, there was a bit of concern about nut count from Guinea-Bissau origin. Counts were higher last year, but this year the counts are back and within norms. Crop quality is also good. But the point I would mention here is again connected to the short crop. Normally in the first crop, it's quite often we would get isolated lots of even 55 and 56 pounds. This year, so far, we have not found any lots with 55 and 56 pounds. So it seems like climate change is beginning to affect all of us globally. And climate change is not just a problem for the countries producing all the pollution, but maybe even for us who don't pollute, but who get affected by all these things. Can we go to the next slide, please? Coming down to prices, this has been a jigsaw puzzle, I would say. Farm gate prices seem to defy gravity, from 300, 350, 400, and right now don't show any signs of coming down. But what is of interest to exporters is the weighbridge price. This is the price of goods delivered up to Bissau after all the taxes and the other charges and transport and all is paid for getting goods to Bissau city. So you can call this the ex-warehouse price, or what in Abidjan would be called the export price, I guess. These prices have been going in the opposite direction compared to the farm gate prices. They started off at 495, fell to 485. They're around 470, 475 CFR per kilo right now. Will they go further down? Will they go up? We don't know. What are the reasons given for this downward trend in weighbridge prices? As most of the processing areas in India are closed right now under lockdown, so there is not much buying interest from India. Vietnam is supposed to have received quite a lot of cargo from West African ports. So they are probably doing spot buying out there at the ports, not very interested in forward contracts. And apart from that, they still expect a lot of buyers to come in from Abidjan into Bissau, probably next week. So let us see if that moves the prices up or down. That's as far as the ex-Bissau prices are concerned. Now coming to the FOB contracts, this is another jigsaw puzzle. The contracts are in the range of $1,250 to $1,300, depending on quality terms, depending on payment terms, and so forth. But right now there is no parity between the purchase price for the exporter, and the FOB contracts available. So how is this going to play out? Well, remains to be seen. Can we move to the next slide? Shipping, as Mr. Adanchi pointed out, is a huge problem. Those of us involved in imports will be aware that in about 6 to 8 months, shipping has been a very, very, very big problem, especially in West Africa. Mr. Adanchi had pointed out that the problem at his end is that companies, the shipping lines, prefer to take empty boxes and send them to China, obviously in the hope of better revenue realization. Our problem is a bit different in Guinea this year, in that normally we have only two big containerized shipping operators here, being Maersk and CMA CGM. Maersk has informed us that they will not be deploying vessels this year. They have some issues with the local government, and they have decided not to deploy vessels to Guinea-Bissau. And Maersk has been the major transporter of containerized cargo in the previous years. So this leaves only CMA CGM as the other big operator, and their freight rates have already been increased by more than 30 to 60%. And the problem is not so much freight rates, but even getting empty boxes, as Mr. Adanchi had pointed out in his talk about Nigeria. We're going to be facing the same problem. Portland MSC will offer feeder service as usual, but it remains to be seen how much time the movement of all this cargo is going to take. I understand even bulk vessels, the freight rates have been increased by more than 50 to 70% this year. So basically all around the freight rates have been increased, fewer boxes available, vessels difficult to charter, late season. Let's see how it plays out. We live in exciting times. Can we move to the next slide? So finally, what are the takeaways for the Bissau season? We are about 2 weeks into the season, have maybe another 3 or 4 weeks left, at least for the buying. The logistics might take a much longer time. So where are we now? Asking prices up, taxes up, freight up, selling prices, big question mark. So there are still a lot of uncertainties. In conclusion, that is what I would say. Remains to be seen how the season plays out. The kernel markets are still firm in Europe and the US, which are the major purchasers of kernels. The major processing countries have a problem, be it Vietnam or be it India. I mean, in India, lockdowns are still continuing. We still do not seem to have turned the corner as far as COVID is concerned. Just this morning, I heard that Vietnam also discovered, there were some new cases of COVID discovered in Vietnam, which might dampen enthusiasm. So which way are prices going to go? Prices going to fall here? Are prices going to rise in the international market? Let us see. And finally, for all of you participating in the Bissau season this year, I wish you all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. John Rao. Wonderful presentation. A lot of questions you've raised, a lot of very interesting points. And taking a call on the price is very, very tough given what you've said. I have a couple of questions before we take some questions from the audience. Incidentally, for all of you who have joined here, our fourth speaker, Mr. Joseph Ere, couldn't make it because of some unforeseen situations. So we apologize. So we will not have the fourth presentation. That's one thing. So coming back to Mr. John Rao's presentation, sir, what was the kind of closing stock when we started, this season? The previous year's crop, was anything left at all?
There was practically nothing left of the previous year's crop, which is why we have a doubt about the export figure about 155, 160,000 tons. One explanation could be there was a lot more exfiltration across the borders. Now, the two borders across which a lot of cashew travels is the Guinea-Conakry border at the Bokeh side and the Senegal border on the other side. And Senegal has many entry points, right, from Salikene, Simbandi,
So do you see that happening this year also, given that, there are so many challenges? And also, I think one of the things could be the tax differentials, right?
The tax differentials have always been an issue, which has always been an incentive for people, especially in the border areas, to move goods across the border. Strict policing by the government in certain years has controlled the problem to a certain extent. And but this year it remains to be seen what will happen, because I think the pandemic is the big elephant in the room this year. How is it going to play out in the rural areas? Fortunately, Guinea-Bissau has not been very badly affected by the COVID virus. In fact, I will say there are very, very few cases in Guinea-Bissau. And but how will it play out in terms of porous borders remains to be seen.
You did give a very elaborate split of various components of the taxes, export tax. How much roughly all of this add up to?
Totally, it would add up to about 105 to 110 CFR per kilo.
105 to 110 CFA per kilo.
Per kilo.
Okay. Right. So that's why you feel that one, like, even at 470 or 425 CFAs X-way bridge, FOB of 1200 is not workable. Is that the reason you're saying that?
Yes, that is the reason. The other problem is a lot of the buyers are preferring to make CNF contracts, because they don't want to take on the uncertainty of freight rates. And like I told you, freight rates are very high. For example, last year, freight rates were in the range of about $160 per ton for containerized cargo. This year, they're already around $220 per ton. So that's a huge difference.
Okay. So in the given current market prices, like, of kernels, there is no parity whatsoever it is. Maybe that could also be a reason not many are right now showing up. Is that a conclusion we can safely make at this
I
point?
agree. I mean, anybody taking a position now is speculating. I mean, maybe some of us are speculating due to force, in the sense that we don't have an option. Some of us are speculating because we are speculating and we see maybe things changing in the future. But right now, there is no parity between the various price levels.
Okay. Can we take quickly some questions? Like, I will start with some questions. One is a question for you, Mr. John Rao, on the quality. Do you think if there is a shortage of production for Bissau crop 2021? There's a question. I would like to answer that.
I would definitely say there is a short crop this year. I mean, I was very surprised. There were practically no trees having any fruit at this point in time. So the assumption is that the first and second crop, due to the delay in the season out here in Bissau, the season opening, the first and second crop were collected and kept by the farmers. And so there's practically no third crop, because a lot of the buds that we saw on the trees were also half dried. And so I doubt there's going to be much of a third crop. What's already in the hands of farmers and intermediaries, there is again a logistics problem in terms of trucks transporting goods from the bush to Bissau. There have been accidents, quite a few deaths, in fact. The trucks are in very old. The roads are in not very good condition. So the logistics from the interior to Guinea-Bissau to Bissau city is also a challenge. And then from here, I guess shipping is going to be another challenge. But we'll come to that when the first vessel starts loading around 7th of June. we used to an exciting life in Bissau.
So given the kind of shipping arrangements, what you saw, what you have explained, the feeder line and all, if somebody is going to start on June 7th, what's the transit time you would expect this year?
I would expect around 55 to 65, as 10 or 15 days more than last year. I mean, we deal in imports also, and I'm seeing cargo being delayed by 4 to 6 weeks. But that is mainly on the China and the Asia circuits. The cargo from Europe, maybe a week's delay or 2 weeks delay. The problem is the movement of cargo from transshipment ports. The movement of cargo from transshipment ports is getting delayed, which is delaying, arrival at final destination.
Yeah, one more question on, is there a drop of quality in Bissau for this year? I think you handled that. You did mention about 56, 55, 56 KOR coming down to 52, 53. There is nut count remaining at 220, or not as high as the previous years, but around 220 to 225. Is that?
A quick clarification. Bissau is always sold as 53, 54.
Okay.
So if you get isolated lots, buyers used to get isolated lots of more than 54, which was their good fortune, right? This year, we have not seen any lots of 54, 55. I mean, 55, 56, which used to be quite common during the first crop in earlier years. So while the quality is definitely within the norms, the outcome, the happy part is that the nut count seems to have come down again this year. Because last year there was an issue about nut count going up to 228, 230, 235. Some lots were even at 240. Unfortunately, that is seems to have improved this year. We are back to the norms of 220, 225. And but the crop size seems to have gone down.
Right, sir. Thank you so much. We will come back to you. Please stay on as we get more questions about your origin. We go back to Mr. Radanji. Sir, quickly, how much of stock is there in Ho Chi Minh? How much of Nigerian RCN is there at Ho Chi Minh for spot buying? Any
Well,
estimation, any numbers which you want to put?
Thank you very much. Before I answer that question, I want Valenci, the guy that delivered Valenci, was asking for support from processors to give them $20 to $30. I want Valenci and all other processors or all other buyers buying cashew from Nigeria to reserve $10 for me because of the activities I've done to make sure that the quality in Nigeria is very good. I've spent a lot of money on that. Anyway, the volume
Thank
of
you.
quality,
Thank you.
the volume of cashew in Vietnam now will be around between 70 and 80,000 tons from Nigeria that will be arriving in Vietnam in the next 1 or 2 weeks. Because of the late picking up of containers that happened, they just became very reasonable about it in the last 3 weeks. And that's when they started picking. And I'm very sure in the next 2 weeks, it will have increased to 120 to 130,000 tons will be arriving in Vietnam by then. But for now,
One interesting question for you, sir. Like, how do you see the relationship between India and Nigeria for cashew crop?
well, India has always been the second partner of Nigerians, but in the last 3 or 4 years, 90% of Nigerian cashew have been going to Vietnam. Last year, there was some improvement, but we are not sure of what the direction it will be. I think the major problem, relationship between Nigeria and India is the issue of trust. Because people have had issues sending cashew to India and they won't get their money on time. And that was one of the complaints I received from people. So I think if those things are done properly, it is also very good for Nigeria to start looking at India as an option, except maybe recently when there is a problem of coronavirus, which is not going to be here forever. Moving forward, I think the issue, there should be a relationship between what we did in Vietnam, we should be able to do the same thing in India, bringing in partnership between the Nigerian exporters and the Indian buyers and processors to come to round table, which has happened in Vietnam in some years back, which I think will also increase the trust so that more of Nigerian crop can be going to India, especially now that we have the wonderful quality and the pelability problem is almost going.
Thank you. Thank you for showing us the way we will look at it, like, how we can play a role in meeting or making such meetings happen. Thank you very much.
Yes.
One more question for you, sir. Like, does the government have parameters set for moisture content in Nigerian export RCN?
That's why I said every buyer should give me $10. It was 100% effort for us. We invested in media. We went there physically. I've been talking to them. I have also made sure that those people that are selling cocoa to me are also getting involved in cashew, so that the quality thinking, mentality they have in cocoa, they are taking it to cashew now. And I think it's going to get better. It will never get worse again. Quality this year has been good, and essentially the government too has supported very well. Not in terms of giving money, but at least they stood up when this problem of a container and shipping line started. So to encourage us. And we find out that especially jokes apart, people like Valenci deserve more support from the government and from people like us, because they came to start when nobody wanted to do it. So I think government should look at them and look at giving them some level of incentive according to what we complain. I think it is very important.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We will come back to you, sir. Mr. Arvind, the question for you. What support does the government extend for kernel exports from Nigeria specifically? Is there any financial support you get, like what you get in, like, Ivory Coast, or is there any other support which you get on imports of machinery? Sorry.
Definitely, whenever we import any like agricultural machines, so there are some subsidies on that. But for export, still rules are there, but we are not getting benefit at that extent. So it is there, it is there on paper. We have to get that 15%, but its realization is a bit difficult as of now. Like in IBC, it has been eased out there. So they have imposed it well on your CKN and Burma kernel also, like 100% on CKN and 50% on Burma kernel. But still there is a problem in Nigeria. So it is there on paper, but to realize it is difficult.
One other bit of information which you have put, which has raised a lot of question, is that export of kernels to Nepal. Can you give some more clarity on that? Is it like, for Nepal or for via Nepal to other countries, like,
I can't explain. I can't tell in detail that it is where it is going after Nepal, but definitely a lot of Nepal buyers are there to whom we have started to export. So this is good opportunity for the Nigerian processors. So I have no detailed idea what they are doing after reaching it in Nepal. So, but definitely we can say that kernels are going from Nigeria to Nepal in a good quantity, in good amount.
Okay, you mentioned in your presentation that you are a processor of Nigeria, Cashew, both in all three places, Nigeria, Vietnam, as well as India.
Right.
What has been your experience, like, in India, processing Nigeria, Cashew, and marketing it?
So see, two challenges are there when you are processing Nigerian nuts in India. First thing, definitely peelability is a concern. Second is the color, because in India, most of the like in Indian buyers, they are very much they prefer to the white color. But if you see, Nigerian nuts are a bit ivory in the color. So that is, if I say these two things are, two challenges are there, because our factories are here in Mangalore. So in Mangalore area, they have category like W and A. So what happens with Nigerian nuts, to get W is a bit difficult in compared to what you get from the local India nuts and from the Benin nuts, right? So this is only the difference. And because of peelability, definitely for one peelability, $8 to $10, you are going to, it will add on in your DC. So that is also an impact.
Okay, basically what I think the person wanted to ask you very clearly is that, does it make economic sense to bring Nigerian cashew nuts to India and process and make money? What has been your experience broadly?
For me, definitely, it is going to make sense, because if you see the price of Nigerian nuts in compared to Benin or other origins, there are significant difference in the price. So only that difference is going to happen here in the peelability, and that has also improved bit in compared to last years. So the parity what we will get from the Nigerian nuts and what are the difference in the prices, it is going to encounter. So for me, definitely we should process Nigerian nuts in India.
Okay, thank you so much. We'll get back to you. One quick question to Mr. John Rao on the chat box. Given all logistic challenges, can we be given a reference of a reliable transit agency or a company to handle shipments in Bissau?
See, there is a whole bunch of transitors out here who work with everybody. I think each person has to, it's fairly easily available to everybody. I mean, once somebody comes out here, you can easily find out who are the main transitors out here. So, but you see, transitor, accountant, lawyer, these are sensitive appointments. So it is better that the person talks to maybe 2 or 3 transitors at a time and then takes things forward.
Okay. Okay.
It's easily available here. Even I can give you a list of 4 or 5 transitors out here or something later, maybe, or things like that. So it's not difficult to find transitors out here. But which transitor you would like to work with, I think it should be an individual decision.
Okay, right. Now, as we don't have any more questions, final comments from each of our three speakers. I will, 1 minute. There's a question to Mr. Radanji. What do you advise to exporters coming to Nigeria for cashew crops?
Well, every exporter coming to Nigeria should understand the terrain in the country first before just jumping to increase prices, because most of the time there are a lot of logistic issues that should be considered so that they will not burn their fingers at the end of the day. That's my sincere advice. The second one is they can be very, very sure that the quality is going to get better. I'm happy that Valencia is saying it. The pillability issue we have discovered, the problem is the sun drying and post-harvest handling, so which is getting better. So if they are coming to buy in Nigeria, they should understand the logistic issue. Then they should also understand that it is profitable to put their warehouses in Lagos instead of going to the farm gates to go and disrupt the chain of the buying, which has always been the biggest problem in the last 5 years. So it is not good for everybody. It's going to be counterproductive at the end of the day.
Very, very valid point. Last week also, this point had come. Foreigners who are coming into the country, do not go to the farm gate because it's not going to do any good. Thanks for bringing that and highlighting it very clearly. I have one question for Guinea-Bissau. Is that question? Yes. With the RCN season just starting in Bissau, what are your expectations in terms of exporting RCN? How many metric tons are you expecting Bissau will export to other countries?
From the port, I would presume in the range of the same 150, 170,000 tons. And across the borders, that's the big question, remains to be seen.
Okay. So here is an invitation to Mr. Radanji. You're welcome to Gujarat to meet with a new group of processors. Mundra port and Gujarat market is a great prospect for Nigerian cashew. So, sir, next time you come to India, there is an invitation from Mr. Abhishek Parmar for you to visit Gujarat and consider, like, because Gujarat could be a next processing hub. They are open to looking at Nigeria cashew and importing it for processing it there.
We are also willing to come. Thank you.
And one more question, like, Mr. Radanji, how you are looking at small buyers who is coming into Nigeria and increasing the price in the market. He has mentioned that very clearly. There's no problem. Small buyers can come, but don't go into the field. So that's been very, very clear. Like farm gate, if you go, then you will disrupt the entire chain and all the good things what the exporters are doing. And that is there, like, so you have a valid list of exporters. You can get it from the association, the National Cashew Association of Nigeria, as well as the government. And that's a right way to doing the things. I think we have exhausted all the questions. So I have 2 minutes. Now, I would request each one of you to give your final concluding remark. I would start with Mr. Radanji. Over to you, sir.
I need to thank Cashew Info for these opportunities. I've always been saying it that without you, there have been a lot of disruption in the industry. And today, I'll give 50% of this awareness, what the result we are getting in Nigeria to you. Thank you very much. And to all buyers that are coming to Nigeria, Nigeria is welcoming. We want more people to come for processing. It is will rather get better. The incentive platform is opened. Government is going to pay. It can take some time, but it's never going, it is an act of the parliament. It's not something that the government can say, we are not going to do it. It's an obligation on the government is going to pay. And they have always been doing that. And they paid the promissory note of 3 years in 2020. And we are hopeful that before 2023, they are also going to do the same thing. So it is an investment welcoming country for people to come and establish their factories here. The crop is growing, the population is big, people are becoming more reasonable, And you can be very sure our quality is going to get better and the volume is going to get bigger. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Arvind.
Yeah, thank you for this Cashew info to provide this platform. But from this platform, I will like to convey 2-3 messages to go to the government, to go to the buyers. One thing like what is happening in IBC, we can strengthen some system for the moisture for the RCN. So it will help a lot to the processors. Second thing, if government can provide some additional support to ease out in the logistic. Third point, are the buyer ends, if they start giving some priority to purchase low grade nuts like pieces, buds, WSP and all those things from the Nigeria, still liquidity of these grades are a challenge for the Nigerian processors.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Mr. John Rao, final comments about Bissau from your side.
Yeah. But sir, first of all, I think thank you for providing a forum, which I think is probably the most popular forum for cashew, exchange of cashew information. It does help us a lot to get to know firsthand what's happening in the other parts of the cashew producing world and other sectors in the cashew producing world. Having said that, from Bissau, I would echo what Mr. Adanji said. I think the benefits of shipping directly or processing and shipping directly from Africa have been known. If it's a question of shipping to the biggest markets of the USA and Europe. Why it doesn't happen, also many hours have been devoted to discussing why it doesn't happen, what are the problems and all. But I think increasingly in the new world, and I'm saying this based on the past few years, not just on this year or last year or just because of COVID. I mean, the problems are increasing in terms of just shipping out RCN. It's becoming a casino in terms of playing the game. Like I told you, right now, all of us are just speculating. I mean, in terms of engaging money and getting the season done. And I definitely think we need to move towards more processing in Africa. And I hope it happens quickly. Thank you.
Thank you so much to all the 3 experts who have joined us for the Trade Talk 3. Thank you to Mr. Adanji, Managing Director and CEO, Starling Global IDL Limited. Thanks to Mr. Arvind Tiwari, who is the Group Cashew Processing Head, Valence International. And thank you to Mr. John Rao, Administrator, Bijagos Commercial CRM. I hope today's session was very useful for all those who have attended. If I'm not wrong, I had seen the highest number of 147. Thank you so much to all of you. Hope we are able to answer many of your questions. And the discussion forum will be open for another 15 minutes. You can continue your conversation and then we will close. We will come back to you with the next announcement on the Trade Talk very soon. Till then, be safe and thank you so much. Have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you.